What's up, traders? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Tony Strugar. Thanks for joining us. So week 2 has finished on my FundedNext 100k one-step challenge. So as you know, if you've watched the first video, week 1 started off with 2 losses, and the week I had an open position. Now the first 2 losses made the account down just over 1%, and then the last trade, which was closed just before the weekend for a small profit, was like $100 profit, so nothing much. So the first week ended as a 1% down. Second week was absolutely a nightmare. So I had one big error. Not only did I break my rules, I obviously was upset about that. I had a couple of losers before and then broke my rules on this one trade, trading on, not only did I break my rule, I was trading on a time frame that that wasn't the time frame I normally trade on. It was based on a 5 minute, so absolute stupidity. But then also I calculated my risk incorrectly, so I was supposed to be only risking I think $300 or $350 on that trade. Calculated it incorrectly, entered the wrong lots into MetaTrade MT5, and I lost $1,000. So not only I won 1% on that trade, so I lost 3 more R's than I would have normally on that trade. So last week was just errors, losses, continued a losing streak. So the account was down 4.5% at one time. So for the week I was down 3.5%. Overall, the account was down 4.5%. And for this one-step challenge, there's only a 6% max drawdown. So I was super frustrated, but just after that error, I feel like after that big blunder, I feel like it almost was what I needed, because it made me just be a little bit more vigilant with what I had to do. And the last trade of the week was we made 1 to 3 risk reward, and it was $1,000 win, risking 300 obviously. So the account was 4.5% down. It's now 3.5% down, a little bit less than 3.5% actually. So it's sitting much better than it was. So I'm feeling good coming into week 3, especially having a nice win that just played out really well. And also the last 2 trades that were losers before that winner, I had the right direction, but I let the trade stay open when there was red folder news, and that resulted in the trade literally just wicking me out and then going in the direction that I was trading in. So that was okay though, because I felt like, okay, well, I had the right direction, even though I should have exited that trade prior to red folder news. So yeah, it was a bit of a mixed emotion feeling, the fact that I was right, and it was only that made me lose the trade. I felt okay about it, and then having the winner. So coming into this week, I feel good. I am actually in a trade right now. I just got into it today on CAD Swiss franc. So I'm shorting that, and it's not a day trade. It might be a day trade, depends how the market moves, but it's going to be probably over a couple of days. But that's the only trade I'm in right now. So if that's a winner, that's going to start the week off really nicely as well. But I'm not too phased, right? I've got my risk model sorted in the fact that the risk now scales up when the account goes back into more profit, but I'm at a max floor. So every trade right now is $300 risk. And as the account builds up a little bit more, the risk goes up again. So it's on the way down. It's a bit of a smooth drawdown curve, but on the way up, it can go quite exponential. So I still feel really good about this. So week 3 is going to be a pivotal moment in this challenge. It's not needs to be a good week, but it's a very important week. If I have a couple of solid trades, losers are okay. But if I have more winners than losers this week, it's going to be sitting really nicely for week 4, because as the risk increases, as it gets up, I can still easily pass the challenge on week 4 or week 5, which is okay. I'm not trying to do it in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I just want to pass this challenge, right? I just want to do it with the right risk model, taking the right trades. It's not about my ego in doing it in a short amount of time. It's just executing. And after last week's poor execution day, even more so this week, I'm just focused on executing well, following my strategy, following my risk model. And if I do that and not focus on anything else, I'll be okay. So I want to get into show you the FundedNext dashboard so you can see this. And I wanted to show you probably a couple of trades. I'll show my winner, I want to show the and one other of my losses throughout the week as well, just so really quickly so you can have a look. But this is a complete journey, right? A complete transparent journey. If you haven't looked at my channel, you would have seen throughout the week I did post about that, big psychological blunder that I had. So check that out, because I was just speaking quite rawly. I did the video less than a half an hour after I made that error and I had that big loss. So it's all completely emotional, raw emotions, and I can learn just from watching that again. And I'm sure you guys can as well, because this isn't about strategy. This is about how we can handle our emotions as a trader, when we're having winning streaks and losing streaks, when we make errors. So I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get something out of it. So, but let me know if you watch it and go back and watch that one. Let me know if you got anything from it. But without further ado, let's go into the dashboard now. All right, so here's the current dashboard. So yep, my name, 100K, one step, challenge, FundedNext. Yeah, you can see that. So yep, 3.27% down. Floating loss is currently in that Swiss franc, Japanese yen short. So it's a $300 risk trade, so it's floating around that break even at the moment. You can see here, had the minimum trading days, haven't hit profit target, and haven't breached any of the other rules. So this is, it's a challenge that's still live right now. Now you can see here, these trades. This is that trade, nice win, right? Japanese yen or NZD JPY, finishing off the week strong. Now you can see there hasn't been good, right? This is that massive loss. These are only $300 losses, lower, right? This is the one. What was it? Gold. I was entering shorter time frame, trying to short the fucking top. Unfortunately, idiot. It was just a go and watch that video so you can see the mentality on that. But this is the big one that's made the account in the drawdown right now. That winner has replaced it, so that's good. But we've still had all these losses, right? There's been 6 or 7 losses in a row, bar this one. So it hasn't been good. It hasn't been good, but I'm not worried at all. I've got my risk model sorted out. Which I'll show soon, actually, just a very, very little bit. But you can see these are all my trades. I'm showing you everything. Now, how it's looking at the moment, it isn't, right? It isn't so bad. If we get back to the dashboard, we're not so bad. That is just a -3% on the account, right? We have a look at my journal. You can see here, I've got my closed trades, 100K. So these are the trades, like this one here, actually, this trade here. I probably should just highlight that, because this was one trade. It was a $500 risk. I'm just gonna do that so I can just differentiate them. So that was the one trade. Let's get that back to red, right? So that was the one trade. So we're 1, 2, no, that's a break even really. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 losses. This happens. Like I'm laughing because it's frustrating, but this happens. But just as easy as you have 9 losses, you can have a winning streak too. And especially if you're risking $300 per trade and you have a winner of that, right? That negates all these 3, right? If you have the risk model, right? You've got my risk calculator, 100K. You can see here, my starting balance is 100K, max drawdown $6,000. Risk reward multiplier, that's my target risk reward multiplier each time. It's a 1 to 3. My buffer model is showing what I'm actually risking per trade. Now this is calculated at 10% of the remaining drawdown. So I've got all the formulas in here that works this out. So we've got the current balance, and this current balance speaks to the closed trades tab. So my current balance of this remaining drawdown buffer is this. Now it works out 10% of this to give me my next position size. I have a risk floor of 300. So even though this would be $273 of risk, we have a floor of 300. So it doesn't matter if this gets lower and lower, the risk floor is 300, right? I hope that makes sense. But we've got your next trade output. So this is the next trade risk, 300, which is the one I'm in now. Next trade expected reward, 900, right? So based on all these calculations, I have this little tab, well not tab, sorry, these little cells here that are also calculated based on the formula of this strategy to tell me how many trades I have left until I hit my max drawdown. So there's still 10 trades. I've had 9 losses, guys, and 1 good winner. Yet I've still got 10 to go until this count breached. But only 3 winning trades and it's back to break even. Like risking 1% as a blanket, I would have blown this account ages ago. In the second week, this would have already been blown. But right, that to me would have made my psychology so bad, having 4 losers and I would have been down 4%. I've had 9 losers and I'm only down 3%, guys. Do you know what I mean? Like it's got such a good smoothed drawdown, and this is a screenshot that I've had made up, right? Or a PNG, it's an image. But only 3 trades, and that's calculated. This is actually calculated on if this trade wins, you win 900. That's gonna then change what the risk is next per trade, right? It's not going to be the $300 floor. It's going to be a little bit more. It'll be around the $400 risk. And if you win 1 to 3 on a $400 risk, that's a $1,200 profit. And then the next trade. So that's why it's only 3 trades, risking such a small amount to bring this account back up to break even. It's only 7 trades. I know that's 7 winners in a row, but it's just, I have this calculated here more for this. It's more for my mentality to know and look at this and go, okay, Tony, you're down. You've had all these losers. If I didn't have this in my face telling me that I've got 10 to go until I blow this account, and I just looked at this, this is enough for me to go, oh my God, I fucking suck. What am I doing? And all these negative thoughts and negative conversations start going in my head to say, you shouldn't even be wasting your money on a challenge. You're not good enough. You know, even though you've proven yourself over and over again that you can have winning streaks, you know, and be profitable, this staring in your face is just enough for me personally, for my psychology to just go, okay, I'm fucked. What the hell am I doing? Right? I've got all my chart screenshots in here as well, but you know, this would just ruin me psychologically. It would literally ruin me. And not it would, it does. I've had this staring at me in the face before, and then it just goes on loss. And then I trade without a journal, and then I win. Wonder why? So I'm not looking at all this negative shit. So I do have to track all this and know what my performance is, but I do need to keep my my confidence up, right? I need to be able to trade with confidence and execute. And you can only execute properly when you're feeling confident. But it's hard to be confident in having this many losses in a row, right? But if I've got my risk calculator here to tell me, Tony, you're 10 trades away from hitting your max drawdown, but you're 3 winners from hitting break even again. In my head, I'm like, easy, I can do it. That keeps me confident. Right? That keeps me confident. And just that alone, I know my strategy works. I don't need to harp on that, right? But this is also gives me confidence. Look at this. This is 17 losses in a row, what it would look like based on this risk model. See how the equity curve, the negative equity curve really smooths out? Right around here is when it has the max risk floor, and it goes on that same trajectory. Right? But then from here, from this 15, 16, 17 losses in a row, you have 1, it negates 3 of these. You have 2, boom. All you need is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 winners in a row after having 17 losses in a row, and it's a break even. If you can win, guys, think about it. If you can win 6 in a row, you can lose 6 in a row easy, and vice versa. So losing streaks happen, winning streaks happen. This here, once you're a break even, 1, 2, 3, 3.5 trades, and you hit 10%. Like I said, if you can have 4 losing trades in a row, you can easily have 4 winning trades in a row. So I have this purely here just for this psychology. This is a mental edge. This isn't my trading strategy edge, my technical edge. This is my mental edge. And for me, my mental edge is so important to maintain. And looking at this every day helps me do that. This is just a little calculator below, right? Using that calculator actually helps calculate these numbers. if you were wondering what that was. So I've got these in here. I know what my risk is next trade. It's 300. I'm in it right now, right? Is it going good? It's a break even, for goodness sake. So I'm not worried. But even so, if this is a loss, this will go to 9 and this will be at 3 or 4. It's not a big deal. It's a $300 loss. So this is my mental edge. This is so important for me. If you were trading with an 8% max drawdown, it changes a little bit more, right? But this to me is my edge. Big part of my edge is the risk model. So I just wanted to show you this, right? I'm going to do I keep saying it, but I'm going to do a full video on this risk model. But right now I'm just looking at where this account's at. Yeah, there's no open positions. This is where I put the open positions and it calculates it all there. I then move it onto my close tab and I've got my open positions here and the risk calculator. All right, so FundedNext platform showing exactly the same stuff. So what I want to do now is just bring over the charts. So I'll just slide it over from here. All right, so this is the current trade I'm in. It's a short on Swiss franc Japanese yen. Let's make that look nicer. All right, so looking at the 4 hour. Now, yeah, this is actually on a breakout, but we've got this big gap down here that I'm looking for price to at least touch a little bit. We've had from this top, we've had a massive, this is the top, right? And this is a very aggressive stop loss, but it's based on an hourly trend, right? It's based on this trend having lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and still doing the same. I'm not placing my stop loss above this one. It's above the next top one, because sometimes what I've found is I might be in the right direction, but then I'll get price just wick above this last lower high, and well, maybe this EMA, 50 MA, sorry, and then we might get that move, right? So if I just have it a little bit higher, taking this high or above this high, then this is still a nice 1 to 4 trade, right? So we've got this key level here where prices potentially can bounce. So I want to be looking at what kind of trend we're in when we get down here. But ideally the TP is at this level, right? Just as we start to get into, I don't give a shit. I'm not trying to, if I exit here for a win, if this is a winning trade and it goes all the way and fills here, I'm not going to care about it because it'll be 1 to 4 winning trade still, right? So, and that's a good little segue onto the winner. This was my winner. This was let's keep it on this. This was the NZD JPY trade that was my winner. And it's very similar. It's a very similar trade. We had this gap. Now on Friday morning, sorry, Saturday morning for me, which was the end of the market, end of the week, we had here, and I was potentially going to, all right, I'm going to hold this to see over the weekend, potentially, to see if this hits the gap. If it was if it was just on like a Wednesday, Thursday, I would have done that. I wouldn't have closed. I would have let it see if we come down here. But it was the weekend, and we had, as we all know, we had Trump's little announcement about tariffs come out, and that impacted the markets too. So I got out here taking. It wasn't quite a 1 to 4 due to spreads and stuff, but close to 1 to 4. But right on here, it says a 1 to 4.3. If I had have gone greedy and the price opened up here, high within, I would have been pissed. So I chose before the end of the week, just get out there. So beautiful trade. So that was the NZD JPY. Now let me have a look a little more and explain why I got into this. So you can see here, this was a key. Let me turn the volume profile off, all right? Key support or resistance, right? We've had this whole area here, these wicks up here is here. So if you don't look at this area, you got high, 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 all these rejections. And then we get a break above, back down. We then use it as support or resistance, sorry, right? So we had all these up in here. We use it as resistance. We come back down here, come back here, use it as resistance again. Now it's in a nice big range. So what do we have? We had price come up here, wick into a supply zone, which is identified on H4 and H1. Now I can show you what this actually looks like. So the H4, cancel that. H4 is this big bullish candle followed by an explosive bearish candle, right? So that's where a big supply zone is. And this is a 1 hour supply zone. So we're going to see exactly the same thing on H1, which is where price came in and got the liquidity grab into. See this? Bullish candle, let's say indecision candle, bearish move. Big aggressive bearish move. Why was this not the one used? Because it didn't create a massive engulfing over it, right? And even if it did, it wicked back into it, saying that that zone's used. This was the zone that is not used. You can see this following candle did not test it. We had this big move, it missed it. So there's orders in here, there's sellers in here. So that's your supply zone. Now, what I fucking love about trading, it literally came in, wicked into it beautifully. Wicked into it beautifully, giving us our liquidity grab. So now, when I'm looking at here in the 4 hour time frame, I've got a level of, where's that daily again? Let me show it better. We've got this equal highs, liquidity grab underneath, right? But I'm not just blanketly short in there, right? I've got a liquidity grab underneath, and then I'm looking at a shift of structure. We had the lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, confirming the trend. That's just a confirmed downtrend. Sometimes I look at this EMA as well, but on the hourly, we were below it. Great, on our side. 2 hourly as well. Yep, beautiful on our side. So we literally almost didn't go into any kind of drawdown and rolled over. So this was phenomenal trade. It's exactly what we're looking at now on franc yen. So that was that trade. That was the winner that I had, that one winner. Euro CAD, this was a loser. And this was the one where it was the same setup. It's exactly the same setup. We had this area here of support. This is a clear level of support, bouncing here. Then we had this level area of demand. Bearish candle, big explosive bullish move. When price came back and tested here, I knew that we were going to get some kind of a bounce, right? And I thought that was here, right? And I still think this would have been, get this fucking volume off. Disgusting. Right, we had this liquidity grab in here, right? So I was monitoring the trend at this point. So this was the trend, either low, lower high, right? Liquidity grab into here. It made the last lower high, equal low. Hasn't taken this high out yet. Right here, these candles, this is where we start taking out the high. So we've got a higher high, higher low, higher high, entering the trade here. So we had price bouncing around here. Then what happens? We had Canadian dollar, red folder news, which I can't remember what it was, but it was Canadian CAD news, and liquidity grab straight back in. These are 15-minute candles, right? Look at the 4 hour. You can literally see bang, bang. So direction was right, but I was in this trade when I shouldn't have been in this trade, which is when red folder news was going to be getting released. So this could have even been an entry today, but I'm not. Once this has happened, this is not presenting me with where I will put the stop loss now, because where's the last local low? The last local low for this is actually all the way down here. So if I'm going to be entering this trade back at that same level, look how low that is, and my target is up here. It's not good enough. 1 to 3. I'm not going to be waiting for this. So even though I'm pretty confident this is going to go higher, I'm not going to be getting into this trade due to the risk reward. So that was a right trade, but not right because of news. No one's fault but mine, right? Shouldn't have stayed in that trade. Same with CAD yen, CAD franc, right? So we had these areas here. This is a 4 hour time frame. This is a key level. Obviously, prices wick, broke, wick, broke. Uses resistance, right? Came back down here, closing under it. What do we get price do? Come for liquidity into this 4 hour supply zone, closed back under here. So what's going to happen? More than likely, we're going to get a sell-off. Now, did we? Yeah, we did. But what happened? This is Canadian dollar pairing as well. And on that 15-minute time frame, which is where I was entering, right? We had that liquidity grab here, lower high, high low, lower high, lower low. Cool, trends in our favor now. Below the MA50 moving average, beautiful. Had some nice reaction at this level. News came, fucking see you later. Oh, I'm going the direction you wanted. How good is that? That would have been 1 to 2.35, but it wasn't due to my fault. Staying in that trade when I shouldn't have. How's this one going? It's still floating around. Not worried about that. This is nice. So if this is the winning trade today, that would be lovely. It'd be a great way to start the week off. I did have an order on gold. It didn't get filled. Gold seems to be moving. I'm not going to chase it. I'm only going to get in where my entry is set for. So this will probably be the only trade for today. There's a couple of other things I'm looking at, other currency pairs I'm looking at, but the only one that's set up right now for the morning is this. So only trade them in right now. But yeah, I don't want to get too much into these trades, but you can see, I guess, a little bit on how I'm trading. Support and resistance, looking for liquidity, breaking key levels, liquidity grab, coming back under that level, shift of structure, having a target in mind, going for it. But you'll see next week, hopefully, hopefully this will be a winner. And then there'll be maybe a couple more trades that I'll be in as well. But I generally only place about 3 to 5 per week. Could be less, could be more. Week 1 was 2 trades. Week 3 was like 5 trades. So yeah, pretty standard. But yeah, looks like we're having a little bit of resistance here. Definitely these candles. It's on the 1 hour. 2 hour, wouldn't be surprised if we come up and test this EM or this MA. 4 hour, this is all the way down here. We've had a week up there. So this still looks really nice to me. 1 hour, yeah, it's above this, but this isn't my whole strategy based on moving averages. It's just a guide. I would like, if it closes under here again, we might get a test back around here, but it's still looking nice. Still below, still within the trend. That rejection up there was predicting that last lower high, but we've got stop loss above this one. Let me just actually mark this out because we've got the pivot here. That's the pivot. All right, so that's why my stop loss is here. Well, the true pivot's here. This is the last lower high. But like I said, that potentially could have wicked me out, which is why I don't want to have these in. I want it to be the other high. I don't want to be too greedy on my profit target. You can see here the volume profile, right? It bleeds out here, so we could get that move back up here, but I like where the stop loss is. Anyway, we'll see how this goes. I will leave it there. And I guess if you found any value out of this, please let me know. Put it in the comments. If you want to wish me good luck, put it in there. But yeah, this isn't anything to do with luck. It's just going to be all based on how I execute the markets this week, whether I stick to my rules, and just remain level-headed, execute with confidence. I'll be fine. But share how your trading week went as well, guys. So, but like and subscribe, and I really hope to see you again on the next video. Peace out.